Dalen Lile's stunning two-homer night set the tone for a wild Tuesday around the league, capped by Atlanta's thrilling 5-4 escape over Washington in a four-homer slugfest. The Tampa Bay Rays held off the Texas Rangers 3-2 in a tightly contested afternoon game. Tampa Bay got the offense it needed from the long ball, as Johnny DeLuca and Cedric Mullins each went deep to power the Rays' 3 runs. DeLuca added a stolen base for a strong all-around day at the plate. Texas got production from Wyatt Langford and Alejandro Osuna, who both had hits, and Osuna and Brandon Nimmo each swiped a bag, but the Rangers couldn't push enough runs across to complete the comeback. On the mound, Garrett Cleavinger picked up the win with a scoreless inning and 2 strikeouts, and closer Brian Baker slammed the door with a clean save to lock up the 3-2 final. It was a crisp game, wrapped up in under 3 hours as Tampa Bay leaned on a balanced mix of power and bullpen strength, while Texas dropped a close one on the road despite some activity on the bases. The Minnesota Twins edged the Kansas City Royals 4-3 in a back-and-forth affair at Target Field. Cody Clemens provided the key blow for Minnesota with a home run, while Jack Caglianone answered for Kansas City with a solo shot of his own, part of a productive day at the plate for the Royals slugger. Ryan Jeffers and Royce Lewis also chipped in hits for the Twins, and on the bases, Kansas City's Tyler Talbert and John Rave each stole a base trying to spark a rally. It wasn't enough, as Minnesota's bullpen held firm behind Yondrys Gomez, who earned the win with a scoreless, 1-strikeout inning of relief. Kansas City got a multifaceted game from Caglianone, who both homered and singled, but the Royals stranded too many opportunities on the bases in the low-scoring loss. Minnesota's ability to manufacture just enough offense around Clemens' homer proved the difference in a game decided by a single run. Sean Burke was the story in Chicago, as the White Sox right-hander struck out 10 batters over 6 dominant innings to lead the White Sox to a 2-1 win over the New York Yankees. Burke overpowered New York's lineup for most of the afternoon, and while Jason Dominguez, Austin Wells, Jazz Kisham Jr., Trendy Grisham, and Spencer Jones all managed hits for the Yankees, they could only scratch across a single run. Jones also swiped a bag alongside Jose Caballero as New York tried to manufacture offense on the bases. Chicago got contributions from Randall Grichuk, Munetaka Murakami, Edgar Quero, Andrew Benintendi, and Sam Antonacci at the plate to support Burke's gem. Seranthony Dominguez sealed it for the White Sox, working a perfect inning with a strikeout to secure the win. It was a pitcher's duel decided largely by Burke's dominant strikeout stuff as Chicago squeaked out a low-scoring, 3-hour battle over the Yankees at home. Chicago Cubs topped the St. Louis Cardinals 4-2 on the road, powered by a big day from Nico Hoerner, who went 3 for 5 a standout, streaming worthy line for fantasy managers watching the top of the Cubs order. Ian Happ, Alex Bregman, Michael Busch, Carson Kelly, and Pete Crow Armstrong all added hits as Chicago's lineup stayed busy throughout the game. Louis got a solo home run from J.J. Weatherholt, who also stole a base, and Jordan Walker, Brian Torres, Jose Furman, Blaze Jordan, Alec Burleson, Masson Wynn, and Ivan Herrera all recorded hits for the Cardinals, but St. Louis couldn't outslug Chicago's balanced attack. Dansby Swanson and Hoerner each swiped bags for the Cubs on the bases. Jacob Webb picked up the win in relief, tossing 1.1 scoreless innings, and Aaron Seville closed it out with a 2/3 innings save to seal the 4-2 road win for Chicago in a game that took just over 3 hours to complete. The Cincinnati Reds narrowly beat the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-2, but the headline performance belonged to Elly De La Cruz, who put together a monster all-around game going 3 for 4 with an RBI while also swiping 2 bags, a genuine 5-tool showcase that lands him on both the multi-hit and stolen base lists for fantasy managers today. Sal Stewart, Dane Myers, Nathaniel Lowe, Matt McLain, and Tyler Stephenson also picked up hits for Cincinnati in support. Pittsburgh got a home run from Brandon Lowe, and Andy Rodriguez matched De La Cruz's speed with 2 stolen bases of his own, adding a hit as well. Jared Triolo chipped in another steal, and Esperlin Valdez, Jake Mangum, Justinson Garcia, and Nick Gonzalez all found hits, but the Pirates couldn't quite complete the comeback. Emilio Pagan earned the win for Cincinnati with a scoreless, 2-strikeout inning of relief, closing out a tight one-run game that saw plenty of action on the bases from both sides, with 4 total stolen bases logged between De La Cruz, Rodriguez, and Trillo. The New York Mets held off the Miami Marlins 4-2 at Citi Field despite a pair of home runs from Miami's Jacob Marcy and Kyle Stowers, who each went deep to keep the Marlins within reach. Xavier Edwards, Graham Pauley, and Liam Hicks also had hits for Miami, but it wasn't enough to overcome New York's offense. Bo Bichette, Carson Benj, Marcus Semien, Francisco Lindor, and Luis Robert Jr. all recorded hits for the Mets, with Benj and Semien each stealing a base to help manufacture the winning runs. Brooks Raley picked up the win out of the bullpen with 1.2 scoreless innings, and closer Devin Williams slammed the door with a clean save to finish off the 4-2 victory. The game was slowed by a rain delay of just over an hour, but New York's balanced lineup answered Miami's power with enough small ball offense and stolen bases to pull away and secure the win at home. The Atlanta Braves survived a home run barrage from Washington to escape with a 5-4 win over the Nationals in the day's most dramatic finish. Washington's Lile put on a show, blasting 2 home runs, while Luis Garcia Jr. added his own solo shot and went 3 for 5 with 2 RBI and eye-popping fantasy line that lands him among today's top multi-hit performers. Between Lile and Garcia Jr., the Nationals hit 3 of the game's 4 home runs, but Atlanta answered right back with power of its own from Ronald Acuna Jr. and Mike Yastrzemski, each contributing a solo homer. Dominic Smith and Ozzie Albiz also had hits for the Braves. Washington's James Wood and Nelson Nunez each stole a base trying to keep the pressure on, but Atlanta's bullpen closed the door as Victor Medeiros picked up the win and Raisel Iglesias converted the save. In a game with 4 home runs and 9 combined runs, it came down to which team's relievers could hold the line late, and on this night it was Atlanta's arms that got the final outs to escape with the 1-run win. The Boston Red Sox outlasted the Athletics 5-4 on the road, leaning on home runs from Wilson Contreras and Wilira Brew to provide the difference. Anthony Segler, Andrew Monasterio, and Masataka Yoshida also picked up hits for Boston, while Seth and Rafaela added a stolen base. Sonny Gray battled through 7 innings to earn the win despite allowing 4 earned runs, striking out 5 as he worked deep into the game for the Red Sox. The Athletics answered with hits up and down the lineup. Lawrence Butler, Jonah Heim, Donovan Walton, Jeff McNeil, Alec Williams, and Jacob Wilson all reached base but couldn't find the big blow to complete the comeback. Aroldis Chapman came on to nail down the save, closing out a back-and-forth game that saw both offenses trade blows late into the night. Boston's power at the plate combined with just enough length from Gray was enough to hold off a resilient Athletics squad in a game that came down to the final outs. The San Francisco Giants cruised past the San Diego Padres 4-1, powered by a big night from Rafael Devers, who went 3 for 4 with an RBI to lead the offense. Daniel Suzak added a home run, and Heliot Ramos, Young-Hoo Lee, Grant McCray, Christian Koss, Willie Adams, and Bryce Eldridge all chipped in hits for a deep Giants lineup. Ramos and Adams also swiped bases to add pressure on the bases. Robbie Ray was excellent on the mound, going 6 innings while allowing just 1 earned run and striking out 6 to pick up the win. San Diego's offense was limited to hits from Luis Rengifo, Luis Campusano, Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Xander Bogaerts, but the Padres could only scratch across a single run against Ray. Eric Miller closed things out with a clean save, sealing a comfortable road win for San Francisco behind Devers' big night at the plate and Ray's strong start. The Los Angeles Dodgers rolled past the Seattle Mariners 6-2 at home, getting home runs from Dalton Rushing and Teoscar Hernandez to power the offense. Freddie Freeman, Andy Pages, and Mookie Betts also had hits for Los Angeles, and Kyle Tucker chipped in a stolen base. Roki Sasaki picked up the win, striking out 7 over 5.1 innings despite allowing 2 earned runs. Seattle got a strong outing from starter Brian Wu, who struck out 8 over 5 innings, and Randy Arozarena had a big night at the plate, going 3 for 4 with an RBI to lead the Mariners' offense. Josh Naylor, Cole Young, and Weston Wilson also added hits for Seattle, but the Mariners couldn't overcome the Dodgers' power at the plate. Los Angeles at 2 minutes stretch, the Dodgers used the logo last over the hallway for the win. It was a quiet day for streak watch. No individual hit streaks or team wins/lost streaks stood out from today's action across the league. With 10 games in the books, plenty of teams and hitters are quietly building toward milestones, so keep an eye on tomorrow's slate for streaks worth tracking as the stretch run continues. Fantasy managers had plenty to like today. Dale and Lile put together a 2-homer day for Washington, the most impactful line of the afternoon. Ellie De La Cruz was a 5-tool difference maker for Cincinnati, going 3 for 4 with an RBI and swiping 2 bags, while Pittsburgh's Zanai Rodriguez matched him with 2 steals of his own. Nico Horner turned in a 3 for 5 day for the Cubs, and Washington's Luis Garcia Jr. added a 3 for 5 2 RBI night, both strong streaming options to watch for tomorrow's matchups. That wraps up today's action around the league. Hit subscribe so you never miss a recap of the day's biggest MLB moments.